Hi guys, it's Jordan from B&P Campers. I'm just going to be doing a handover video on this Chausson. The actual model of it is a 727GA, and I'll show you through the inside in just a minute. What I'll do is I'll show you all the way around the outside first, and then we'll jump inside in a minute. So, under the bonnet here, we've got all of your sort of consumable items and sort of reservoirs and things are all on the left-hand side. So we've got your washer fluid tucked right over in the corner, your power steering fluid, engine coolant and brake fluid. You've then got your engine oil filling point here and your engine oil dipstick just there. Your aircon regassing points are just through there at the back. The white colour on the cab and the back of the rest of the vehicle basically, so if you wanted any touch up for the white colour, it's Fiat 249. Chassis plate is just here, 3.5 ton on your Trigano chassis plate there. Air filter sits inside this box just down here, and we've got your positive terminal for the engine battery just under this little cover. So if you wanted to jump start the vehicle, you've got your positive terminal there and your negative terminal just up here. So if you wanted to, make sure that was definitely, basically the reason they do it is because the engine battery sits under the floor in the cab. You haven't got to go under there just to jump start it, so you can jump start it just literally by positive there, negative here, nice and easy. Bonnet release handle on these is just inside the passenger door just here. We've got your leisure battery sit just down here underneath the passenger seat. The diesel filling point is just inside this little flap here. No AdBlue or anything like that to worry about, so it's literally just diesel. Right, this locker just here is pretty important. So it's got a lot of your sort of electronics and water and all that sort of stuff all inside this one place. So behind this little cover here, we've got your 240 volt trip switches in there. You've got your 12 volt fuses inside this one here. Each fuse has got its own little diagram telling you what it does. So it says, for example, let's just have a look at this one here, the 30 amp one, the green one here, says 30, and it's got a little ice symbol, so that is to do with your fridge. So if you have any problems 12 volt wise, you can have a little look in there and just make sure that they're all okay. And then this thing over here on the right is your 240 volt charger. So if you've got the electric hookup plugged in, this little thing here should light up red, and that'll tell you that your charger is working. To the right of that, we've got all of your water bits and pieces. So we've got the freshwater filling point. So to use that, you turn this around here and then fill it up from this point here. You can, if the water's low enough, you can take this cap off and get your hand in there and clean the tank out. That's the idea behind that. And you've got your freshwater draining point just by lifting up on this tab. As you can see there, the water came straight out underneath. Next door to that, we've got your electric hookup. So if you do have access to a hookup cable, really handy to have that plugged in, because it means you haven't got to worry about any power, because the charger's going to be on, and also means that you can use any of your 240 volt appliances whenever you wanted to. Right, this little vent just here at the back that says Truma on it, that is your boiler vent. So if you have got the boiler lit up, you will feel hot air pumping out through this left hand side just here, and make sure that you don't cover up either side of this, because one of them's the exhaust and one of them's the inlet, so make sure that you don't cover those up. Bodywork is absolutely lovely and straight, as you can probably see there as well, really nice and shiny. Obviously you would come to expect that on a vehicle that's 68 plate, but it's always nice to see there that it's been kept really nicely. Same goes for the back here. Bike rack has been removed as per customer's request, so that you can still open up this locker here. The old one was a little bit obtrusive to that and a bit high up really, so because I didn't need it, I have removed it. I've left the actual bike rack itself inside the garage here, obviously, because it is a nice expensive bit of kit. So if you did want to reinstate that, it really is as easy as poking it up through there. There's a couple of pins that come in through the sides there, and then you've still got these original bolts here to reattach at the bottom. It's no time at all to do it, so it is all still there if you should want it. As you can probably tell, the garage in here is absolutely ginormous. You've got a couple of things. So you've got this here, this bottom one here is to do with the bike rack. Because it's the type of bike rack which you can wind down, you've got a Fiamma winder for that. The top one here is the winder for your awning. So if you wanted to wind the awning out, obviously I have wound it out as part of the habitation check and lubricated it and made sure it all works. But that's the winder for that. And you've also got a centre rafter pole there as well. So if you wanted a bit more stability on the awning, you can fit the centre pole there. Other than that, that is about it really for the garage. Down underneath here we can see this little sign telling us that the wastewater drain off point is down here. So you've basically got this little handle just here, pushes in and out. So I've got a noisy vehicle going past. So yeah, that little handle there basically just pulls in and out and allows that water to drain out from the waste tap. It really is as easy as that. You've got a channel running all the way along underneath the awning there. So if you have got a like a driveway awning type thing that you want to put onto there, you can do that from that. The awning itself does actually have a rail on it anyway, but there you go. So the Thetford toilet cassette. So to remove the actual cassette itself, you lift up on the little the orange tab there and pull the entire thing towards you. From that point, all you need to know really is that you drain it out from here. So you take this little cap off and drain it from there. And whilst you're actually draining this out, you should hold down this little orange button at the back. Blue fluid goes back inside here, so about a cap's full or a cap or two goes back inside there. And you've got a freshwater flush on this one, so you haven't got any separate flush fluids to worry about topping up. So as long as you've got a little bit of water in your fresh tank, you'll be able to flush the toilet when and wherever you are. I've locked that, so I'll open that in a minute. So the last locker, obviously we've got the habitation door here, but the last locker is going to be this one. So this is your LPG or your gas locker. So you've got a gas-it refillable system in here. So you've got the filling point just down here to the left of the locker. Filling hose comes up just here and gets diverted off to the other bottle there as well. So basically when you fill it up from there, it will fill up both bottles. You've got a gauge on there telling you how much gas you've got in here. You've got quite a lot of gas in there, to be fair, so that'll last you quite a long time. At the moment, the only one bottle that's feeding the regulator up there is this big bottle on the left hand side. So if you wanted to, well, you can get things called a changeover. Obviously this one hasn't got it at the moment. Previous owner obviously hasn't had one, but you can get a changeover, which means that you can have both bottles feeding one little valve, and so you can just turn them both on together. But basically at the moment, when you start to run out of this bottle here, you can just put this little nut or this little bolt here onto this, and that'll start drawing the gas from this bottle instead. But I don't think this one's got a huge amount in it, and this one's got quite a lot in it, so that's why they've done it from this bottle at the moment. But it's up to you how you want to do it. You can just keep filling this, you know, just keep filling it up from there and keep using this left-hand bottle if you want. It's completely up to you. But to turn the gas bottle on, we go anti-clockwise around to the left. And if we want to turn the bottle off, we go clockwise all the way down around to the right. As part of the hab check, I have gone around and lubricated all of the rubber seals on each one of your locker doors, and the reason that I did that is because it was looking a little bit dry. All of these rubbers were looking a little bit dry, but now I've just sort of given them a silicone lubricant spray, and that should keep them sort of, you know, stop it from leaking for a long time. So in the cab itself, just behind the driver's seat, we've got your fire extinguisher in there, and a couple of fuses and bits and pieces in there, little relays. On the actual door, we've got the electronic adjusting mirrors. electric windows, and I think that's about it really for the door. So you've got a really nice high spec in the cab. So you've got the cruise control from this little stalk just down here, the 6-speed manual gearbox, air conditioning from that center switch just there. Looks to me as if you've got a switch here for turning on the radio. Yep. So if you want to turn on the radio without the ignition on, so if you're parked up and you're camping and you want to use the radio, you can turn that little switch just there up and it will allow you to use the stereo there. You've also got the reversing camera from this little center screen up here, and you know, essentially you can turn that on and off whenever you want to. If you want to use it as a rear view camera, you can, but you know, it's mainly for reversing right up stuff really. Other thing I'll mention whilst we're here in the cab is that you've got switches just inside here which do these lights in the cab. All right, so if you, just in case you couldn't find those because they're tucked behind the curtains here, that is where they are. Okay, so in the actual van itself, again, a lot like the cab, you've got lots of nice extras. You've got the original fitted fly screen for across the door here. So if you wanted to have the door shut, you can, open, if you can have the door wide open and still have the fly screen across the door. So the layout in here, you've got this really nice big table in the front and forward facing seats with seat belts, proper over the shoulder seat belts as well, very important. You've got a side seat just here as well and another seat belt there as well, so you can have 5 people sitting in here at any one time. We've then obviously got your electric drop down bed from up the top just here. A lot of people wouldn't even notice that this was here, so it's a really nice and sort of sleek design on this one. You've got a switch just here, not that one, wherever the switch is, for the lights on the bottom of the bed. Just try and remind myself where that is now. I'll find it in just a minute. But anyway, so you've got the lights underneath the bed here as well, which will come on whenever you want them to be on. And a switch just down here for lowering the bed. And there we go. So bed working really nicely. No problems with that whatsoever. Yeah. So what I'll do is I'll start up here probably with the control panel. That's more than likely where we should start. These are some of the most easy to use control panels that I've come across in any motorhomes really, and we haven't had any problems with them so far. So you've got your main power switch on the left hand side at the top just here, as you can see. You've then got your internal lights, water pump and external light being the awning light on this particular vehicle. We've then got down here, we've got your leisure battery indicator. So if I press that one, it comes up telling us the voltage in the leisure battery. So we've got about 75% power in the leisure battery. We've then got vehicle battery voltage. Press that one. And we've got just shy of 100% in the vehicle battery. Fresh water level. Press that one and it shows us we're in the reserve for the fresh water. And then this one here is just about how dim and bright the screen is, basically. You can press and hold on that, I think, and then it goes up. There you go. So these are all just basically indicators for your batteries and your water. Over on the right hand side here, if your engine was running, you would have this little top symbol here lit up, and if you had the electric hookup plugged in, you would have this one here lit up. But that is honestly it. That is the whole control panel. So essentially, when you want to come in the vehicle, when you want to start using stuff, turn all 3 of these on up here. You don't have to have the awning light one switched on, to be fair, but that's just the option you've got there. And then you can come over here and start using your taps and your lights and stuff like that. So again, as I say, super simple on the control panel. First thing I'm going to explain to you is that you've got the water pump switch up there. With that, you've got something really important that you need to make sure that you do every time you get in the vehicle. So when you want to use the water and you want to use your boiler and all that sort of stuff, you need to make sure that you do one thing first, which is basically just make sure that you've got water inside the boiler. So to do that, there isn't any gauges or anything, you know, easy really to just sort of have a look at and double check. So you do have to do something really important. So you need to make sure, first of all, that you've got a little bit of water in your fresh tank. So we come here and we have a little look, press the button there. It shows us, yes, we have got some water in it. Yes, we are down in the reserve, but we've got some water. So I'll then turn the water pump switch on and come over to the tap and lift it up on the cold side. With good pressure coming through. And then over to the hot. And then turn it off. The water pump should turn itself off, which it has done. And that is literally all you need to do. See, that's draining away really nicely into the waste tank there. So doing that and just seeing the water's coming through nice and clearly, no coughing and spluttering and going all over the place, just basically proves to us that the boiler is full of water. If we did that, well, exactly what we've just done there, and the water started coughing and spluttering and it wasn't really coming through very nicely, it just means that the boiler isn't quite full. So all you need to do in that sort of instance is allow the water to carry on coming through until it starts coming through just like it was just then, and then switch it off again. Make sure the water pump turns itself off, and that's it. That's completely all you need to do. That is then good to go. All right. As long as you can turn the hot tap on and it comes through nice and clearly and the pump turns itself off when you turn the tap off, that's it. It means you're absolutely 100% full up and you can go ahead and use the boiler from there however you want to. So on that note, I'll just run you through how the boiler works. So you've got what's called a Truma iNet Ready system. So the iNet Ready system is this unit here, and it controls your heating and your hot water. So the heating still comes out through the little circular vents that are dotted around all over the place, but it's all powered and sort of controlled by this one unit. So if I turn it on just here by pressing the center button, it brings us up a little menu screen basically. So whichever symbol is flashing is the symbol that you're hovering over. So if I press on this first one just here, which is a little caravan symbol with a temperature sensor in it, press on that one, it comes up saying off. That is our heating. So if I wanted to turn the heating on, it's quite a hot day today, so it probably won't work. But if I turn it up all the way up there, it goes up to 30. I can then press on again and the heating will start sort of springing to life. Okay, so that is how you would turn the heating on. I'm going to turn that back off again. The next one over is your hot water. So if I wanted to turn the hot water on, we've got Eco, Hot, or Boost. Okay, so you go through there. If you're in a real hurry for some hot water, obviously you would want to use Boost, and then you can just change it however you want to use it. If you're not so, keen on getting it, if you're not in such a hurry to get the water coming through really, really hot really quickly, then you can just have it on Eco, and it will just kind of trickle over and just get warm gradually, but that's up to you. So that is your heating and that is your hot water. The next one over is the energy that the actual heater will use. Now this is a diesel and electric system. Okay, so if I just explain that to you, the majority of actually I say that, I don't know that for a fact, but the majority that I've worked on of the Truma iNet Ready systems are gas and electric. Right, but in this particular case, you've got the fuel version, which basically means it works on diesel or electric. So there's no gas that runs to the boiler. So if I just run you through what I'm sort of talking about there, if I press on this one here, so I said this one here is your energy selector, press on that one, and it comes up either saying fuel, mix 1 or mix 2, or electric 1 or electric 2. So basically, if you wanted to use the boiler on just diesel, so if you just wanted to use your fuel to get the water hot or the heating on or whatever, you would just press fuel. Just press that one there, and then whatever you tell the boiler to do from there, it will do it on your fuel, which is what this little symbol here means. Okay, if you had the electric hookup plugged in, you can use it on either mix 1 or mix 2. which is a mixture of diesel and electric, either at 4 or 8 amps. Or you can use it on just electric 1 or 2, which, as you can probably imagine, is electric only. So that will only work when your electric hookup's plugged in, but that is your options for how to actually use the boiler. So let's just say we're wild camping, we haven't got the electric hookup plugged in, then the only way that we can use this heater or the boiler is on the fuel setting, and that will just basically start drawing a little bit of fuel from your diesel tank. The last one over here on the right is your fan speed. We've just got a vent there, and we can adjust the speed of that because we've not got any heating on. So when the heating's not on, it will come up there saying vent, and you can just go through and basically use it as a cold air fan. So now that I've done that, if I open up these a little bit, as you can probably hear, it's basically just pumping out cold air. All right, so if you want a bit of a breeze coming through the vehicle, you can just use it on vent. So if I just turn the vent one off now, all the way back down to off. Now when I turn the heating on, you'll notice that when I go over to here, it won't say vent anymore, it just says eco or high. Okay, because that's a different setting there. Because it's on the heating now, you've only got the option of eco or high. If I turn the heating off, we will then have the option of vent again, all right, which is just our cool air. All right, so hopefully that makes sense. And that is basically the boiler. That is how you use the boiler in its entirety. You have obviously also got a couple of things you can go in and sort of adjust all the timers and the clock and all that sort of stuff, but yeah, the majority of people don't really bother with that. So next thing I'm going to run you through is going to be the cooker here. So you have got the option of the electric ring there. So you can, if you are hooked up on the mains, you can use this as an electric ring. So let's just say you've got a kettle or whatever, you know, you normally just have to use one of the gas burners, but on this particular vehicle, if you're hooked up on the mains, you can use your electric ring there. The dial for the electric ring is the one here that says 1 all the way through to 6. And as I said, that'll only work when your hookup is plugged in. To the right of that, we've got your gas hobs. So they light up easy as that. And then underneath, we've got your grill and oven. So if I just show you how these work. So if I push in around to the right on this dial over here with the ignition, it will light up our grill. Just need to make sure it lights up both sides. There you go. And that's it. That's how you use the grill. Switch that one off just by pulling it back into the middle, basically. And then the oven. You've got your gas marks on the oven there. And that's it. It really is as easy as that. This is a Thetford oven and grill. Yeah, all the details of that are just here on this little sticker. Back to the middle. Turns our oven off. Well, that's about it really. That's about it for the appliance there. The fridge is the only appliance left to run you through, I think. So if I run you through that. So we've got this extra tool fridge just here. This is another Thetford branded fridge, I think. Yep, Thetford fridge. I would imagine that Chausson have probably got a Thetford, you know, agreement going on there where they use a lot of Thetford parts. Thetford and Dometic are the two big players really in the motorhome appliances, both as good as each other really. So it's a lot the same as the boiler controller in a way, because you haven't really got to do a huge amount. But if I press this button just here, it comes up on the screen telling us what's going on. So essentially what this particular screen here means is we've got your temperature on the right, so you can go through there and adjust the temperature wherever you want it to go to. So you can, you know, after the fridge has been on for a couple of hours, if this is getting way too icy inside here, you can turn it down a little bit. If it's not getting quite icy enough, you can turn it up a bit. So it's easy as that. So that's just your temperature sensor. You've then got on the left, we've got your actual energy selector. So at the moment, because I haven't got the electric hookup plugged in and I haven't got the engine running, I can't use it on any other way other than gas. So I've selected gas. The gas burner lights itself up. It's automatically, you know, lighting up itself. And that's all you have to do. As long as this little gas flame symbol here stays on and you don't get any fault codes or anything like that coming up on this little screen here, that's it. It's on. If I wanted to leave it on automatic mode, I would press it there and make sure that this little A is showing here, and it will basically just automatically choose which energy it thinks is correct. So at the moment it's chosen the correct one. It's chosen gas for us because that's the only energy that we can use. If we were hooked up on the mains, I would be selecting this one just here, which is our mains cable one, but obviously it's flashing at us and showing us error 10 because we're not hooked up. If we had the engine running and we'd already pre-cooled the fridge before we were going to leave, I would then select the 12 volt symbol just here. Obviously, again, showing us a different fault code because we haven't got the engine running and so it can't work. So when I select gas, it should stop flashing and it will light up. All right, so that's just lit straight away. I heard it. So that is how you use the fridge. Now, so if I just quickly explain about the pre-cooling it part. Any motorhome fridge, really, three-way fridge anyway, works in a sort of specific way. The gas and the 240 volt are the only two ways that this fridge will get properly cold. Okay, so if you're going to go away on holiday tomorrow morning, let's just say, for example, then you would need to come out to the van the night before, ideally, and either hook it up on the mains and select the mains on the fridge, or if you don't have access to hooking it up overnight before you leave, choose gas and leave it lit up on gas for a few hours at least before you leave. All you need to do then is switch over to 12 volt when you start the engine. And what it does is it will hold the temperature inside the fridge whilst you're driving. And the reason that you have to do that is you can obviously not, you can't have the hookup plugged in whilst you drive. That's obvious. But you also really shouldn't have the gas on when you drive. Having the gas on when you drive is a big no-no in itself, but definitely not having any appliances lit up on gas whilst you're driving. That is the biggest no-no in the whole sort of van, really. If you imagine, these fridges are so sensitive to a lot of things when it comes to the gas flame. You know, if you're parked on an angle and it's more than about 5 degrees or so that you're off, these fridges can struggle to get cold. So if you imagine, it's not going to do anything at all. If you're driving along on the motorway with this lit up on gas, first of all, it's a massive fire risk, but also it's never going to get cold anyway. So you need to make sure that you light it up on gas or use the mains before you leave, get it nice and cold, and just use the 12 volt function for whilst you're driving. Other than that, it's pretty straightforward. As I say, you can leave it on the auto function if you want to, and it should just select that automatically for you. But there you go. So up inside here, we've got a couple of things. We've got your TV aerial booster towards the back, which is that little white box with the light on it. And then we've got your solar controller. All right, so that is all wired in just there. You've then got your actual TV aerial itself. So you've got the tilt and turn TV aerial. So you loosen off the nut at the top just there, and then you'll be able to push and turn this little aerial wherever you need it to go to. And then you should find a decent signal on there. You've then got your TV bracket, which has been really cleverly fitted just here. So you can have it either facing forwards just here where it is at the moment, or you can have it all the way around the other way to face into the bedroom. So push that all the way back in until it clicks, and that is all locked up. So the last thing I need to show you really is going to be the bathroom. So I'll just pop this back down again. So the bathroom itself, I very rarely spend much time showing around these because it's literally just hot and cold tap there for the sink, Got this little lock here. All these new Chaussons have got these. Same goes for the shower. Literally just a hot and cold tap for that. Really, really easy. You don't need me to explain that. I'll put this back together in a minute when I've got two hands. But the toilet is normally the only bit that I actually explain, because it's, you know, maybe the only bit that you've not, you know, you can't work out. So because you've got a fresh water flush on this one, you do need to make sure that the water pump is turned on and you've got a little bit of water in your tank before you start trying to flush this toilet. So if I just show you, you've got a blue button just here, which is what pumps around your flush fluid into the actual bowl. Okay, if you want to drain it into the cassette, you pull this handle just here to the right and it will drain whatever's in the bowl there into the cassette. Push this back to the left whenever you're done, and that's it. Easy as that. That's how you use the toilet. So I'll just show you the blue button being pressed in, pumping around there, and then draining into the cassette, just like that. Right, so I think I've covered everything. I don't think I've missed anything out, but if I have, or if there's anything you think you want, you know, going over again or whatever, just give us a shout. But otherwise, I look forward to seeing you soon. Thanks very much.